is the Newcastle Knights taking on the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks. It's going to be an interesting one. This one's not easy to call. I'm still a little bit on the fence as to how this one goes. I think that there'll be points because, it's a Sharks game. There's always points. But to caveat that, the 6 and 7 this week for the Sharks, Trindle and Townsend. That's a combination we've not seen out of the Sharks this year so far, I believe. For the halves pairing, because there's no Johnson this week. He's gone with a strain. And Matt Moylan, it was revealed that he'd been playing with a grade 2 partial tear in his hamstring for the last couple of weeks, which is not great, to be honest. And he'll be a big loss there for the Sharks. So it's going to be tough. I still don't know where this one goes. I lean more towards the Sharks, and I will put some rationale behind that. And that's just that I think that the Knights have massively fallen off this year. Well, towards the second half of this year. Defensively, they've been a little bit suspect against teams that really they should be beating. That Leno-Pierce halves combination just hasn't clicked. I know that they've only, had 1-2 games at this point. I think this might actually be the second game. Yep. And it's, it's two teams with unfamiliar house pairings, but the Sharks have an ability to run up points. The Knights just, for me, they don't look the part for coming into this week. So I'm leaning towards the Sharks on the head-to-head. I don't know what market I'm going to go yet, but even when you look to the stats, points scored, 374 by the Sharks. Knights 305, points conceded 232 conceded by the Knights, 344 by the Sharks. It looks to me that there's going to be points in this one. What's your thinking?
Yeah, just going through all the markets now. It's a tough one to pick. The Sharks are currently the underdogs, surprisingly. The Sharks are $1.95 underdogs against the Knights, who looked like absolute dog poop last week. Looking at the over-under, the over is 42.5. Hitting it. I'm taking that straight away. Four of the last five Sharks games have been 42 points or more. We saw last week, played like absolute crap. Newcastle played like absolute crap. Cronulla got the 28-12 win. I'm looking at the wrong stat sheet here. But yeah, 4 of the last 5, 40 points or more. As for Newcastle, same thing, 42 points or 40 points or more, 4 of the last 5. When they look like crap against the Cowboys, obviously a 12-0 win. But yeah, I'm hitting that over every day of the week. I don't know how Leno's going to play second game up. He needed that one to feel out, but that feel out was getting absolutely barreled over by some big boys from the Warriors, and it did not look pretty whatsoever. I think the loss of Johnson, an already known loss of Johnson this week, won't affect the Sharks. I think they had Connor Tracy in the 7 last week with no Townsend.
They did,
and it obviously wasn't a typical Sharks attack. It put more pressure on Will Kennedy, it put more pressure on Blake Brayley, but it still wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad shout from the Sharkies, and for as good of a forward pack as the Knights have, they're coming up against Hamlin ULA, who's on a barnstormer this year. Toby Rudolph, although we could expect him probably to not start. Royce Hunt, Aaron Woods, Britt Nakora, Wade Graham, Scotty Sorensen, COC for Talakai. I'm sorry if I butchered his first name. Had absolutely barnstorming last 2 months. Yeah, he's been fantastic. And it's not taking credit away from Newcastle. You got Clemmer, Jacob Saifidi, Lockie Fitzgibbon, Aiden Guerra, who's a former Queensland Origin rep. Mitch Barnett has been great. SASA coming off the bench. Josh King's been pretty solid. That's a strong forward pack. But I think the Sharks are just going to give them better go forward. So I'm leaning towards the Sharks here. I'm going to go Sharks 1-12, paying 310. I'm taking that over 42.5 as well. I kind of... All right, so that's going to be my official tips. Sharks 1-12 and the over 42.5. That's paying $7.25 on a multi. I think that's a pretty juicy value there. If you want an anytime try scorer, because of course I can't go a game without at least providing a suggestion, never mind a tip. I do think that Blake Brayley at 650 is a big shout. He's due for one. He can scoot from dummy half. We saw last week that the Knights were a little vulnerable through the middle. Granted, yes, they did have a couple of players go down hurt, but Blake Brayley at 650, that I'm seeing some dollar signs here. But Sharks 1-12 over 42.5. That's what I'm rolling with.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with the Sharks on the head-to-head. I'm gonna go the over. I'm gonna go Mulatalo anytime try scorer. Just because I think that they'll probably target Toa if the numbers line up as they should, because Katoa's usually your right side, Mulatalo on your left. So I think that they'll go down Toa's lane. I think that they'll probably pepper him with a few kicks as well, just because Mulatalo is fantastic in the air. He's got, if he's not batting him backwards, he's taking him himself and going over. And he's also, if he does manage to get one-on-one with Toa, I don't see Toa being able to stop Mulatalo. So I'm going to go with that. And Luke's going to tell you how much that's worth.
Sportsbet, if you really want to, give us a cheeky sponsorship here, we're not going to say no. We'll bring old mate, we'll bring the skipper on, we'll bring Wally on. They can have their banter. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. We're definitely not amateur hour. It's definitely not like I'm eating dinner at the same time right now. Sharks head-to-head, over 42.5, and Sione Katoa, $5. Matt, don't say it.
I said Mulatalo. I definitely said Mulatalo.
Sorry. You did too. My bad. 575.
575. Okay, slightly better.
I woke up like 20 minutes ago. Give me a break here.
Right. Okay, then with that, we will get on to the next one.